Hello my friends, Dennis of Canoehound Adventures here. On today's episode, we're going to be reviewing TripleX X1 knife. Hi guys, welcome back. So today's episode we're going to talk about something that's quickly become one of my heirloom tools and a steady carry when I'm on an outing in the bush, or we'll be definitely going on my canoe trips and hiking trips and all of these sorts of things. It's something that any bushcrafter should never be without, and it's their knife. When it comes to this kind of a tool for doing this type of thing in the outdoors, you want to make sure that you have something that is reliable, something that's bulletproof, something that is never, ever, ever going to let you down. In this case, I think I found that knife. I have a few knives. I've actually got another one being made by a good friend of mine, Beasley Ironworks, David Beasley. We've been working on a design for the Bush Beast, but I'm not here to talk about that today. Today I'm here to talk about this wonderful knife put out by TripleX Knives, and it's called the X1. First off, I'm going to tell you a little bit about TripleX Knives. TripleX Knives is out of Nova Scotia in Canada. The owner, Derrick Tappan, is the master knife maker. And I come across their site. I've seen through YouTube. I've done my research on trying to research knives, and really wanted to shop within Canada. As you know, I like to shop Canadian when it comes to my bushcrafting tools, if at all possible. If not, the US, and then I'll go abroad if I need to. But this knife, after the research that I've done, I found it to be one of the best fits for exactly what I was after. This knife is what's considered an all-chore knife, meaning it could be used for hunting, you could use it for fishing. Yes, on my last fishing trip I actually filleted a couple of fish with this just to see how it would perform. I didn't get it on video, I should have, but things were in party mode on that trip. But anyway, so yeah, this thing, and it's great at processing wood. So through the whole order process, I had contacted Derrick and sort of let him know what I was after, and he said he was more than willing to work with me on how I wanted my knife to be. I wanted something that was tailored just for me. So a bit about the knife itself. Let's take it out of here. Have a look at this beautiful thing. This knife, overall length, is 9 inches. All right. The blade is made from L6 steel, and it's a 4-inch blade. It's got a 5-inch handle on it. It's got a full tang that runs through. The spine of the knife is ground at a 45 or at a 90-degree angle, so it's great for using with your Ferro Rod or for scraping wood. Being a high carbon L6 steel, it, along with the Ferro Rod, actually throws a great spark. In this case, Derrick made the knife for me. What I had wanted was a Birdseye Maple. You can take a look at the maple. Nice finish on this knife. So I got Birdseye Maple, but when I got it, the thing I thought neat about this knife was it actually looks like it's got curly maple ribbons going through it as well. If you take a look here along the back side, you can see there's like almost like a curly maple look to it, but it's still got the Birdseye. So to me, that's a very nice wooden handle. Now, Derrick, with this particular knife, says as an option, and it's a free option, he'd be willing to put a Bow Drill Divot in there, and that's what that is. So if you're bow drilling, you could put your drill in there, hold that on your piece of wood, and you got that. So no more looking for a toggle or a bearing that you're going to be using for that. So also with this here, when I had this set up, I got white liners put into it. You can see the white liners there. Just something I thought would set it off really nice. The next knife I get from Derrick will be something a little different looking, a different style of knife, but right now I have this and I absolutely love this. He also includes all the hardware stainless steel. and including the lanyard hole, which is a full tube goes through, and he puts this neat little lanyard on. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with that. I might put something a little beefier on, something that will go around my wrist, so that if I'm processing wood, I'll be able to do that, and if it slips out of my hand, it's not going to go flying and take out Molly or something like that. The grind on this particular knife is a Scandi grind. It looks like about probably 3/8 maybe to 1/4 inch. It's a little more than 1/4 inch, probably about 3/8 of an inch of a Scandi grind on it. It's got the TripleX logo stamped into the blade, as well as onto the back side of the Bow Drill Divot. And I must say about this knife, the one thing I really like about it is the way that the handle is made. You can see the handle's got an ergonomic grip look to it, sort of done like a Coca-Cola bottle shape. And basically what that does is it allows this part to fill into the palm of your hand, and it fills that space in the palm of your hand and allows you to grip it. This knife has definitely a lot of pluses. Very, very few downfalls with it. The only downfall I find with this knife is the fact that, and this is my own thing, is because I have a pretty big mitt, and I have this finger that does not close from a bit of an accident where I almost lost a finger, but it no longer closes. And sometimes that allows, or makes it a little difficult for me to get a good grip on this knife. Just because you could see my finger there. The one thing I could have done to remedy that, and I didn't know because it's the first custom knife I had ever ordered, is I could have had perhaps Derrick make the handle a little bit bigger, a little fatter through here, so that it would take up more of the palm of my hand. But for the average person, this knife would be perfect. So if there's one thing I would do in the future, is I would confer with Derrick a bit more, just to find out what I need to do to make sure that that is going to fulfill my hand. But it is still a very comfortable knife. Lots nice and smooth on top, so that you can do your carving. You know, it's great for batoning your wood. You can do feather sticks with this thing in hardwood, even like there's no tomorrow. I'll show a couple clips of that. But ultimately, my TripleX knife, another tool I love. I know you're going to say, Dennis, Canoehound, every tool you review, you say you absolutely love it. Well, of course I'm going to review the stuff I love and give kudos to the stuff I love, just because they're tools I use all the time. I don't want to bash any companies that make bad tools. But if I did have a tool and I was trying it out on the first time, I would definitely give my honest opinion about it. And that's why I like to make sure I have a tool and I use it for a long period of time, and I'm going to make sure that that tool, I know about that tool. I want to make sure I got a good feel for it, learn all the things it'll do, see how it's going to stand up to the elements of the rigors of the things I'm going to put it through, because I can be hard on my tools. And I just want to make sure I'm giving an honest review, not something I've tried for the first time and never ever used. And you can't really give a good opinion of that, because you don't know over time the reaction of that tool. So anyways, back to the knife. So with this knife comes standard with a beautiful sheath that Derrick includes. It's a nice thick leather sheath, has the TripleX logo stamped into it. And it has two ways of affixing to your belt. You can either have a belt loop, which is here, or you can do it a Dangler style. And if you go back and check up here, you'll see that I have a video where I made an actual survival lanyard, so I can actually do a neck carry with this as well. Very handy. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. But my best and my most favorite way to carry this, in all honesty, is on my right hip, on the belt, on the Dangler. It just makes it so much more easily accessible. So a bit back to the knife now. We were talking about the liners. When you go on TripleX's website, you'll see he's got about 7 or 8 knives that he specializes in, this being one of them. On there you have all kinds of choices of the kinds of woods and handles that he can do. So basically he's customizing a knife to the way you want it to look within his style of knives that he makes. In this case, like I say, it's the Birdseye Maple with a bit of curly maple into it, from what I can see anyways. But he also has like Wengewood, he has hickory, he has ironwood, just a few different kinds, oak I believe, and then he has different types of micarta as well that he works with. And then as an option, the liner, the white liner that you see here is an option. I believe he charges an extra $10 for your liner. Well worth it if you really want to customize the look of your knife. It's not necessary to have, but if you want to customize it, make it really your own, I believe he charges $10, and the liners come in a whole array of colors. He's got white, black, orange, red, green, turquoise, and a few other colors that are available. So that's an option that he charges $10 for. The other thing that I got with this knife was, and this is also an option, is the matching ferro rod. So essentially he takes the same type of wood that he's using on your knife. I believe this is like a $35 option. Take it or leave it. I love it. It's a nice ferro rod, and I'll tell you honestly, I haven't even used a ferro rod yet because I have many ferro rods, and this one is so nice. I just don't want to beat the crap out of it yet because it's part of this system. I know it may sound silly, why'd you buy it if you're not going to use it? Well, trust me, I will use this one day, but for now I just want to keep it looking good. But he's got that all ergonomically shaped as well. It's got the elastic band in there, and when you order the ferro rod, he also puts the carrying loop on the lanyard as well. So this is a great feature that it fits in there just nice. The elastic goes down and that baby's not ever coming out of there. So basically this knife in that sheath, as you can see, it's in there. It's not molded. I can mold this, do a vacuum seal mold on it, but right now it holds so nicely that there's no real reason for me to have to do that. And just to say that when this knife come to me, and like I say, it was so sharp out of the box, you really got to be careful how you actually put the knife in, because if you put it in there crookedly, you'll see, hopefully, you can see that I've actually cut into the sheath a bit already. So something that I'm going to have to be aware of, that I don't want to slice my sheath all up. Mind you, I could order another one for Derrick, no problem, or have this sent back and repaired, but you know what, it'd be better just to buy a new unit and move on with it from there. Let's talk cost. This is in Canadian dollars. I believe this knife cost me, I think this knife was $175. The ferro rod's about $35, and the liner was another $10. So you do the math, you're probably looking around $240 to $250 tax and shipping. He ships it out to you. It comes nicely packaged in a box. Very well packaged so that it's not going to cut anybody in transportation or anything like that. And he has a lead time right now, it says on his website, 8 to 10 weeks to produce a knife and have it shipped out to you. I ordered this well before Christmas, and it took about 6 to 7 weeks, and boy was I a happy fellow when I went and checked my mailbox between Christmas and New Year's, and my package from TripleX was in there, and it was like Christmas all over again. Dennis got a gift from Canoehound for Christmas. It just come a couple days late. So Derrick at TripleX Knives, man, you make a quality knife. I'm very proud to wear this. It won't be the last knife I get from you. I hope this review is doing you some justice. Okay, so let's move on to caring about this knife. My battery died, so if I'm repeating myself, I apologize for that. Just not quite sure where it left off, but I believe we left out at the care portion. So essentially, caring for this knife, you just want to make sure when you're done using this knife that you clean it well. These are all instructions that Derrick Tappan actually sends to you on a nice card. Basically, you want to clean the blade. You want to make sure there's no saps or anything like that on it. And then you could fine tune it. If you see any nicks or anything, or it seems to be not performing the way it should be, you can just use a strop and just lightly strop, and making sure you have that perfect angle so that you're not rounding them edges. So if you actually get it on the strop, you find that square edge at the bevel, and you just want to lightly bring that. You don't want to take too much material off. This material steel is very hard, and so you want to make sure you just keep a nice edge to it and keep it maintained. When I store mine, I actually take mine out of the sheath because leather can hold moisture. and we don't want moisture coming in contact with the knife because it could do what? It can rust. So basically, I take the knife out, much like I do with any of my metal things, my saw, my axes, things that, like any tool that is metal and it's prone to rusting. I'll take a little bit of olive oil on a rag and I'll just give it a nice light wipe, and I'll make sure that it's got a light coating on it. And then I store it on a shelf high up, out of the way, so that no little hands are going to get a hold of it, because this can do some serious damage. But basically, you store it in a high up area, and you're going to make sure that it's out of reach of little people. So, in closing, I must say that, Derrick, once again, thank you for crafting me such a beautiful knife. I tell everybody about it. You have an ambassador here, a YouTube buddy of mine there, Maritime Spook. I know he carries a lot of your knives, and he's a great ambassador for you. I'm hoping I could be one of the next great ambassadors for your brand of TripleX knives, because you're building a beautiful product. I wish I could do this myself, and I'm sure I could if I tried, but my wife tells me I have too many hobbies and I shouldn't be taking on any more hobbies. So, in closing, TripleX Knives, thank you very much. This is Dennis from Canoehound Adventures, and remember folks, keep the adventures alive.